What are ethical issues presented in the movie? Well, the first ethical issue I saw was redemption versus damnation. Constantine's struggle for redemption, despite his past suicide, questions whether personal atonement is possible and what it takes to be saved. His fight against demonic forces and his self-sacrifice are part of his attempt to avoid eternal damnation. The second ethical issue I saw was free will versus predestination. The film grapples with whether people control their fate or whether it is determined by higher powers. Constantine believes in free will, attempting to shape his destiny, while other characters, like Lucifer, argue that all actions are part of a larger predestination cosmic plan. Another ethical issue I saw was faith and skepticism. Constantine's skepticism about divine intervention contrasts with the faith of characters like Angela, who believes in God's justice. Constantine's lack of faith complicates his journey to redemption, raising questions about whether belief or doubt influences moral actions. Another one I saw was use of power. Characters like Constantine and Lucifer manipulate supernatural power for personal or greater purposes. Constantine uses his power to fight evil, while Lucifer uses his power for manipulation and control, illustrating the ethical responsibility that comes with power. Another one I saw was the nature of evil. The film portrays evil as both external, demons in hell, and internal, human sin and personal choices. Constantine's battle with evil reflects the moral question of how evil is confronted and whether it can be overcome or merely contained. Lastly, sacrifice and consequences. Constantine's ultimate sacrifice to redeem his soul shows that actions, even when intended for good, have consequences. His willingness to give up his life challenges the ethical notion of whether true sacrifice can absolve past wrongs or if the consequences of one's actions are inescapable. What are ethical/moral issues presented in the film? The first one is good versus evil. The ethical conflict between good and evil in Constantine is presented through the battles between heaven and hell, embodied by supernatural beings like angels and demons. Next is faith and doubt. Constantine's journey is marked by deep skepticism about faith and divine justice. He doesn't believe in the purity of heaven or the mercy of God, having seen too much evil and suffering. Consequences of choices. A central theme in Constantine is the idea that every action has consequences, both for individuals and for the world. Next is manipulation and power. Power, whether divine or demonic, is manipulated throughout the film. Lucifer, as the ultimate manipulator, seeks to claim Constantine's soul, using both temptation and coercion. Lastly is sacrifice and altruism. The most critical ethical dilemma in Constantine revolves around sacrifice and altruism. Constantine's self-sacrifice at the end of the film, where he chooses to give his life in place of someone else's soul, is a moment of genuine moral redemption. Are they social, economic, political, gender, educational, etc.? And does this lead to a deeper meaning? Some social issues I saw were redemption and forgiveness, faith and community, political issues, power dynamics, and moral authority. Some spiritual issues are existential questions, and the nature of evil, and gender issues are representation of women. The deeper meaning to this is these ethical and moral issues in Constantine provide insight into the human experience. The film shows the redemption is attainable, but requires facing one's past and matching tough choices. By examining these themes from social, political, spiritual, and gender perspectives, Constantine encourages viewers to think about the complexities of morality and how personal choices come into larger societal issues. Ultimately, it challenges audiences to consider how their beliefs and actions influence both their lives and the world around them. Last question is, what can be interpreted with what I found? Constantine serves as a reminder of the complexities of life, the possibilities of change, and the importance of understanding the impact of our choices in ourselves and the world among us.